The day is finally here on the last day of the heat wave. I'm going to be connecting the inside unit to the outside unit, vacuuming out the refrigerant lines, and hopefully firing this up and having a working mini split in my wood shop. These are the refrigerant lines, and they get connected way up there and then way down there. I spent all morning getting the power to this unit. Now I need to get the power from this unit to the interior unit and get these refrigeration lines on. I need to go get some tools. Okay. Got a bunch of gauges and stuff. That is the one I'm going to use. We got pipe wraps there. Another set of gauges, which we're not going to use. And here is the pump. And I got a bunch of adapters, and this I'm going to need as well. Nylog blue. You use this on the flare fittings. Put a little bead of it around on the flare. You don't put anything on the threads because the threads don't do anything. So you have to carefully unravel this. I don't know if I'll be able to explain it or not, but you just kind of like hold this between your legs and slowly form it straight with two hands. And I just do enough, like I'll do enough to get me down to here, and then I'll unroll some more. So let me get these two lines connected up there. Oh, and the stuff coming out of the building, I have to bend that down a bit, and then once I get the lines down, I'll bend everything. It has to come as tight as possible, but you can't go more than like a 4-inch radius. So once those are bent and going straight down and they have the two lines on them, I'll swoop the lines over as gently as possible, and we'll take this cover off, and that's really where all the action happens. Okay. I'm not going to show a whole bunch of this, but I thought I'd show you this. This is how this came from the factory. It's got electric tape on it, and then it's got this line is kind of necked down to a compression fitting. I don't know what the heck's up with that. That doesn't look all that good. This one looks okay, but what I really wanted to show you is that these interior units are filled with nitrogen, and it should make some noise when I take these off, and that's normal. Hopefully it makes some noise, but either way it's going to get vacuumed out anyways. Come on. There it goes. And once I have this all set up, I'm going to be foaming the inside of this hole here. There it goes. Woo! Lots of pressure in that one. Alright, let's get that line connected. This is very difficult to film. We'll film a little bit of it. Alright, so you're going to want to put your Nylog blue, which is not blue, Hopefully I got this camera aiming the right way. And if this does get into the lines, it's not going to hurt anything. It's inert to refrigeration systems. And I'll put a little bit of Nylog blue on this other side as well. A little too much. Make sure that the flare is connected, and make sure that you're not cross-threading. And you need to use 2 wrenches on this. It's very delicate and you don't want to over tighten, but you definitely don't want to under tighten either. You don't want that upper nut to turn at all, or it'll probably just break off. Just tight enough. And we're leaving it just like this until we get the lower ones connected and vacuum out the lines and test everything. Okay, now we're going to run our lines over here. These are just caps. This is a 3-way valve. This is a 2-way valve. The big one gets connected to here, little one gets connected to here. And then inside of these caps, there's a hex valve key. And you open these up. I'll show you that stuff in just a minute. Let's get the lines run over here. Again, you gotta go slow with this stuff. And just slowly uncoil it. Don't try to force it. Gotta hold this snugly without crushing it. And tighten down this end. Yeah, you definitely do not want to over tighten this and break this valve or crush it. We're going to open this up and connect it to the vacuum pump and pump this thing down. Okay, I got the power hooked up to this outdoor unit because we're going to start it up as soon as we get this evacuated and release the Freon. I guess it's not Freon, it's just refrigerant. And you could see the hex key valves inside of there. Okay, This is the service port. This is what we're going to connect to. Okay. And this set of hoses is all color coded. You're going to want to connect the blue, which has a Schrader valve depressor. You want to connect the blue onto this service port. And we'll just snug that down a bit. Doesn't have to be super tight, but you don't want it loose. Alright, and then there's a yellow line right here that also has a Schrader depressor in it. We're going to connect that to the vacuum pump. Okay, we're hooked up to the compressor unit here. That comes up to this gauge here. This valve is open, and then it goes to the vacuum pump here. Now we're going to turn this on and let it go for, I believe they want you to do it for 15 minutes. I'll go read the instructions and see what they say. Some say 15 minutes, some say 5 minutes. And I've even heard a half hour. And the same with, once you have it completely evacuated, different people say different things about how long it should remain down here at the -30. And I don't believe this gauge actually goes all the way down there. I believe it stops just a hair before the line is as far as it's going to go. But we'll see. Okay, this is going to have to run for a while. Okay, and that's just what I expected. I have never gotten this gauge to go all the way down to the -30. It's always like between that and the next line over. That's as good as we're gonna get. Now, gonna shut this and turn off the vacuum pump and wait 5 minutes. Yeah, I've already waited 30 minutes. See, that didn't move, even with that closed. I've already waited 30 minutes and it didn't change. Okay, so we are basically dead in the middle between the last two lines. So now we're going to wait 5 minutes and see what it looks like. Okay, it's been 5 minutes and the needle has not moved. Now you need to turn this a quarter of a turn on this two-way valve. Quarter of a turn for 5 seconds. You're releasing a little bit of refrigerant into the system. Okay, and this is showing where it doesn't matter where the needle is, just that it went up. Now we need to watch it for a couple minutes. It is at 46. We're going to watch it a couple minutes and make sure it doesn't go down. If it doesn't go down, then we're going to open both of these valves all the way and put the caps back on. It's actually went up a little bit. So now we're going to take this off, and it's probably going to squirt a little bit of refrigerant. There's not a lot in there, but there we go. And then open both of these all the way. That'll fill the lines. And you don't want to force it, just open it till it stops. And we're going to go in and test it once we get these caps back on. With the caps, you want to just tighten them by hand and then snug them a little bit after that. These don't actually hold any gas back or anything. But they want you to snug them just in case, so they don't fall off, or I guess that's it. Just a slight snug. You absolutely don't want to break the valve. Okay, let's go inside and test this. Alright, send some power out there. I seen a light flash on there. Alright, turn it on. And we're supposed to set it at the different modes. It says 79 up there. Fins are opening up. It says to, I can't tell what mode it's on. Turbo fan, alright, mode. Oh, it's just got some stupid little icon. I can't tell what that icon means. I'll have to look. I guess this is cool. Looks like a snowflake. Yeah, you'd think they could put text in there. Yeah, and then it looks like cool again. I'm gonna have to go through this and find out. But you're supposed to run it down to its lowest temperature, which is 61, and then let it run for 5-10 minutes and check for electrical leaks or gas leaks or anything like that. We will go outside and soak test those fittings, but we're going to see if this cools down right away. Okay. Yeah, looking at that remote, I couldn't tell what was what. The third one in, that is a snowflake. That is the cooling. And then you go to this one, that's a fan. That's what I had it set on. And that's a sun. So that's your heating. So I got it on cooling now. The temperature up by the ceiling up there is 82 degrees. So it's going to take a while to cool down and get some cool air out of this, I believe. Well, it's cool coming out now, but it's not as cool as it's going to be once it cools down that upper layer of air up there. I was playing around with this remote and it didn't seem like it was doing anything. The fan on the outdoor unit was running really slow, and I went out there again and it was not running at all. So I kept going through the instructions, and it said that you have to be within a certain amount of feet of the unit and point the remote right at it. So I did that and it really kicked in. to where you can hear it. So I went outside, and the outside unit is blasting away. It's actually spinning really good. And I can start to feel the coolness over here, but in line with it, like right here, it is really nice and cool. So I'm going to give this about a half hour. I'll check back with you, and then we'll wrap this video up. It looks like this is working just fine. All right, 5 minutes. It's dropped it 4 degrees in here. It's working just fine. I'm going to run it through all of its paces, put it in heating mode and whatever other modes it says to do it, and I'll do a little bit of leak testing. I do not think it's leaking. It's working just fine. It is getting really nice in here already in just that 5 minutes. So I'll probably pop back at about a half hour, as long as I'm going to leave that in cooling mode, and then we'll check out then. Oh, dropped already. 74. Okay, it's been about an hour and a half, and we are at 68 degrees. It feels beautiful out here. I'm just going to turn this off because it's going to stay this temperature for probably a couple days. When it's really warm out and it gets hot in here, it can be really cold at night, but the next day it'll still be hot in here. This is really well insulated. It takes a long time to cool down or heat up. Okay, so got that working. I think right away I want to put in an electrical outlet here, and I have that water line right there. If I don't have to move too much stuff, I think I'm going to go on to that next. And then we have our condensate drain here. I did that on the other channel. I'll put a link to it if you want to see it. There's a sump outside. That was pretty interesting. It's a freeze-proof sump. That would take care of all of the stuff that I have to do outside. And I have a bunch of stuff to do outside on the tiny house. But when I get back into here, after that stuff's done, I'm going to start on the pink wall. Start getting the plywood on here, get it painted, and then finish up on my electric run over to it. And then get the dust collection done and get the compressor hooked up, get the planer operational. A lot of stuff to do, but all of this stuff can be done inside. Oh, and one last thing before I sign off. The reason I took so long to get back out here and read the thermometer is because I took the dogs for a walk down this road right here. It's about a quarter mile down there. It's our road, and not many people go on it. I took the dogs for a walk, got to the end of the road, and heard an elk call twice. And we don't have any elk in this area. It's the same thing with wolves and bears. We've had wolves and bears moving in the last few years, and now it's elk. Awesome. Okay, so a lot of projects coming up. Make sure you stop back and see them. And if you have any questions on the MiniSplit stuff, I know it's not a real good video on it. I just wanted to get it done. I do have a video where I show all the different steps and stuff. So if you want to see any of that stuff or need a hand doing yours, just put it in the comments and let me know, and I'll get right back with you.